All right. So this week, I actually remember to hit record the first time around. That's progress, people. Progress. Anyways, it is, April 5th, 2023. Tail is the Cranky comic book review show. It's a thin-ish stack. Let's not complain about my LCS, but if you've ever seen me on this channel before, you know I've been doing it for a while because I just don't order a lot of the stuff and I don't want to order with them and I need to just suck it up and get a pull list and then do the penalties if I don't like the books or just be diligent and remember to cancel them because whatever. So I'm missing out on a couple things this week. The biggest one is especially the last issue of Stillwater, which I really wanted to read just to see how it ends, and Traveling to Mars, and there's probably more. But whatever. So they're not in this stack. But we got worst to best. Not a god-awful week for comics, really. I'm sure I can find something to be cranky about, though, because, yeah, it's a cranky comic book review show. Let's do it. First and worst. Yeah, that's right. Junk Rabbit #1. Hang on. Jimmie Robinson to Junk Rabbit #1. He put his name there, so you know. Jimmie Robinson. Yeah, it's all right, I guess. I mean, it's an image book. It's just not very interesting. It's the end of the world. The world's now a trash heap. People live in dome cities, and there's some, I don't know, thing that's replaced Twitter or Twitch or TikTok, and there's a made-up new slang, and that it's 100 years in the future, and stuff happens. Somebody gets killed, and without spoiling a whole lot. Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's just kind of boring and really verbose. That's the info dump at the very beginning. And it just kind of keeps going. Like, the dialogue, I don't have a problem with, a made-up language and stuff, but it just doesn't feel natural in here. And then the art, when it works, it really works. But there's also panels where I was just confused to what character was which and what was going on. And, yeah, and there's a couple side plots in here. And then there's apparently a big main reveal at the end, but it just didn't hold my interest. I've read some stuff by Jimmie Robinson before. I can't remember what, honestly. And I've never been wowed. And I'm not wowed now. So I'm one of those jackasses that goes to, a burger place and it's like, I don't like hamburgers. I didn't like this hamburger. 1 star. So this one's my own fault. I knew kind of going in I didn't really love Jimmie Robinson's stuff. And I don't love Jimmie Robinson's stuff. So 1 star Yelp review. All right, next. We have Batman. Number 134. And I'm just trying to get through this arc. It's Multiversal Batman on a different worldy thingy, and Mike Hawthorne's in the art, and I really don't like his art. I really just don't. It doesn't seem to fit Batman. I'm aware that What's His Nuts is not coming back. The guy who's in the last run. Really good stuff. Jorge Jimenez. Probably not coming back. I'm hoping that, and it seems like Zdarsky is doing small little arcs, and I'm just hoping that the next arc will have a different artist. And that's what I'm holding out for at this point. The story's fine. It's nothing really even groundbreaking, earth-shattering, ground-shattering, earth-breaking. Words are hard. It's, Batman in a different world, becoming Batman in a different world where nobody knows he's Batman, but everybody kind of knows he's Batman. There are some events in here that take place that should be really exciting. And I don't know if it's, on Chip for the way he, gave the directions to Hawthorne or just the way Hawthorne executed it. Because, one of the bigger things that happen in here is just kind of chunked off in a little panel. And you're like, really? I'd actually read the page twice. I was like, that's it? That's what we're getting out of this? That's the big, shocking kind of thing, and you just relegate it to that instead of making it the end of the, a cliffhanger or anything like that. So, the dramatic beats aren't working for me in this run. I like the failsafe better, and I'm hoping the next arc will be better. I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. Man, do I hope so. I'm just kind of muscling through it at this point. I mean, it's still better than Tynan, really. But, yeah, and then there's a backup story with Tim Drake. That's fine. Better than Junk Rabbit, not great. And I don't even like this cover. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. I just don't like Hawthorne's art. I don't know. It just doesn't do it. I'm sorry, Hawthorne, if you end up watching this. it's a personal thing. I don't think you're an awful person. I don't think you're probably a bad artist. It's just not for me. I do think you can work on the dramatic beats a little bit. All right, next. This one was actually pretty good. I've read. I'm surprised. I'm still sticking with it, but whatever. It's Avengers: War Across Time by Paul Levitz with Alan Davis in the art. I like Alan Davis's art. This seems like an older, looser, kind of more mature Alan Davis than when I last read him, which was Excalibur in the '90s or aughts or whenever that title came out. So he's probably older, and more mature, and maybe a little looser. And then Paul Levitz was a DC editor, I think, that's now working on an Avengers book. This is just a love letter to the Silver Age Avengers. That's all it is. I would, at this point, honestly just wait for it to get collected because it's not going to do anything to wow modern audiences. And, honestly, modern comic book fans probably aren't digging this because it really does seem to, slide into, somewhere in the first 10 issues of the Avengers. And it makes the Avengers really a lot more underpowered than they are currently, and a lot, I don't know, more in some ways more human, but in some ways just the Silver Age kind of pastiches of humanity. So it's fun if you like the Silver Age stuff. If you don't, this is not going to be for you. I enjoy it. I don't think it's going to change the world, and I don't think it's amazing, but it's fun. So if you're looking for a fun time, honestly, just wait till it's collected. There's not a lot of reason to get this one from month to month. It's just not, especially if you're a spec person, nothing here is spec worthy. If you like a fun story, and you actually want to read some comics, I don't know, it's a bizarre ass concept. This is decent. All right, next. Also decent, Planet of the Apes, #1. Marvel's got Planet of the Apes in their wheelhouse now. And it's by Walker and Valencia. I'm not going to look up the first names. I don't care that much. Paul Walker? No, he's dead. Probably not him. It's a retelling of the origin of the Planet of the Apes. Very in line with things that have happened in the world the past few years and kind of in line with humanity and the media and people's desire to place blame somewhere where it doesn't necessarily always lie. It's not subtle. It's not subtle about that at all. I mean, it's got a pretty ham-fisted social message in here, but I don't mind. I mean, Planet of the Apes has never been subtle. The end of the movie is, that's about how it's not a subtle franchise, is what I'm saying. So don't expect subtlety here. And it's a little timey-wimey in the storytelling. It kind of jumps all over the place from year to year, from spread to spread. I don't mind it. I like it. Will I keep up with it? I don't know. This is a tough one. I might give it one more issue and see. I enjoy the setup, but it also, even though it feels like a refresher and a more modern take on Planet of the Apes, it doesn't feel like they have a whole lot more new to offer. So take that for what it's worth. It's the last run of movies was better than this, but this is solid. It's decent. It just doesn't seem like it's treading on much new ground. All right, next we have Hairball. See, look, I made an auditory joke, people. I've range. Hairball, Matt Kent, Tyler Jenkins, and Hillary Jenkins. This is a Matt Kent book. It feels like a Matt Kent book. It's overpriced like a Matt Kent book. It's sparsely worded, and the Jenkinses are drawing like they're drawing a Matt Kent book. It just kind of has that feel to it. There's a 4-panel grid and lots of dialogue. And without spoiling much, there's a young girl who's adopted by a family, and the family is, the parents are not great, and they're not loving the daughter. And then there's a cat, and then it turns into a horror book, kind of. It's a slow burn horror story, and also about the difficulties of relationships, and people kind of sucking and grown-ups kind of being evil, and a naive child that just wants to be loved, found love in the eyes of a cat. A gentle, loving cat. That's probably not really what it seems. It's a fun one. On other weeks it might be higher up the ranking just because I think it's an interesting premise. I love the cover. If the interior art were all like this, I'd probably rank it higher. I don't think the Jenkins whatever. I don't think they're bad at it. And I do think I know Matt Kent knows how to tell a decent story. It's a slow burn, and slow burns are not necessarily an easy way in on a first issue. You have enough here, I think, to grab most people, especially if you like some kids' other work. He did Spy Superb and Grass Kings, and I can't remember what else he's done lately. I know a bunch of stuff. Fear Case. I just can't. Yeah, and so solid writer, solid enough beginning, just kind of slow, like I feel on a Wednesday. All right. Yeah. Next we have Adventures of Superman John Kent. I hate DC's titles. Did I ever mention that? It's issue number 2. It's Tom Taylor with Henry. I can't remember the first name on the Clay Henry. I don't know. I guess I should actually do some work while we're recording this video and like find out who did the art on it and just appease the audience. All of you lovely human beings that still stick with me and watch me for whatever cranky ass reasons. The art is solid. It feels like Bruno Redondo light, kind of. Just kind of clean and sparse, and it fits. And it's John Kent going off to fight Ultraman, and I don't want to spoil a whole lot more than that. What the hell? Clayton Henry. I wasn't too far off of Clay Henry. So Clayton Henry on the art. Tom Taylor knows how to write a superhero comic book. And unlike, say, the Batman, where there were things that happen that should be kind of baller and should be like, holy shit, that was fucking cool. Or that like, wow, I didn't see that coming or whatever. It didn't stick the landing in Batman because of the art. It sticks the landing here. There are a couple of moments where I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. And like, holy crap, and wow, that was baller. So, all 3, I think, actually. And this is a fun book. I think I like where Tom Taylor's going with this. He's kind of like the architect of the your side of the DC universe. I think Josh Williamson's going to end up being the JLA person, and then Tom Taylor's going to end up doing the Titans with Nightwing and John Kent and everything else. And this is a worthy addition to it. It's multiversal. It's Jonathan Kent trying to learn and grow up and become his own thing. If you're a fan of the 90s Superman, which I don't know why the fuck you would be, but I mean, some people like it, I guess, the death of Superman, and then split into the Steel and whatever the hell. You'll probably really dig this. There's actually not much to complain about this year. It's a breezy superhero book. And Tom King excels at breezy superhero books. It's not super deep. It's not dark. It's not brooding, even though there's dark and brooding things. There's things that happen here. You're like, fuck, that's pretty bad. That's awful. But it's not. The way it's told by Tom and the way it's illustrated by Clayton Henry, it doesn't feel that way. It feels comic booky, and that's not a criticism. It just feels like it's how it should be. It's not like the Man of Steel movie where everything is like grim, dark, and evil, and you have to say your mom's name is Martha in order for everybody to get along. It's not that. This is a little bit happier, a little bit more. Oh, sure, the world's going to shit, but I don't know. It's just maybe really just the color palette in here is brighter than anything in those movies. But whatever, I dug it. I'm enjoying this one. Kind of surprised. I wasn't really expected to because it's not a character I've traditionally cared about. But in the hands of a good writer, I don't care about not caring about. That's not how I should have said that. A good writer can make you care about anything, and I'm starting to care about John Kent. So there we go. Next, we have Saga. And yes, I'm always going to say it like that, and I'm not sorry. This is issue number 63. Sometimes it's hard to review monthly books, especially ones that have been around for a while, because I'm on issue 63 of this. If you're not caught up on this, nothing I say is going to change your mind and make you want to read it. And even if you have had any inkling, don't start on 63. You're going to have to go hunt down the first 62 issues first. So there's a lot of backstory here. It's a space opera. There's a mom. There's kids. The kids are growing up, and Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples are great together, and they've been like working together for a long time. I do wish this book was on a more consistent release schedule. That would help a little bit as far as remembering what happened from month to month. But if you have like at least a vague idea in your head of the general players and kind of remember a bit of what's going on, you're not going to be too lost in this. And as a comic booky person and one that knows how to write comics, Brian K. Vaughan does leave you with the cliffhanger ending where you're like, not necessarily cliffhanger, but something that happens at the end of this issue. We're like, holy balls, that's cool. Or what the hell? Or did that really happen? Comic books, people. Comic books. The monthlies should keep you coming back for more and should have an interesting beat and a rhythm to it. And these two are probably the most rhythmic of the titles this month. I'm really enjoying Saga, really enjoying John Ken, but I have to give my book of the week to Where Monsters Lie, number 3 by Kyle Starks and Peter Kowalski and other people. This is just nuts. And Kyle Starks has written some nuts stuff before. I've reviewed a few of these things. Can't ever remember what the hell they are, but I know I've liked them. And this is no different. This is a little neighborhood in a town or a little town or whatever. Actually, it's a neighborhood in a town full of every single murdery, stereotype serial killer / horror movie monster you can think of. And like it borderlines and like kind of crosses over into some of the supernatural elements. It relishes in the stereotypes of that have gone before and paved the way. There's Stephen King in here. There's a lot of like 80s horror movie references, and there's a lot of homages to things that I grew up with, like Chucky and Child's Play and Puppet Masters and Leatherface and all of that. And then it's just a lot of badass fun. So like my theme for the top 3 books this week is they're just badass fun. And that's kind of, maybe it's a mood I'm in. I don't think the art on this is going to win a whole lot of awards. It's decent, but it's just kind of, it serves the story well without like going too bored. I think the coloring could be a little bit better. It does seem like pretty straightforward and a little one-dimensional in the coloring. The lettering's fine. I haven't talked about lettering in a few months. Thankfully, there hasn't been a lot of lettering that's bugged me in the past few months. But, Vladimir Popov on the coloring. I don't love the coloring. But, I think I just said about way too many times in the past couple sentences, this is just fucking awesome. Like, there's, like, murder, death, evil, killing stuff, and destruction and gore and violence and everything you want in an 80s horror movie in a comic book about 80s horror movies and serial killers that all live at the end of a block and have been discovered by the outside world. So, I don't know. Just get it. Wait for trade paperback. Do whatever you want. I'm not the boss of you people. But yeah, it's my favorite book this week. I thought Saga was going to take it until I read this, and I was like, no. This edges it out just because it's pure stupid-ass fun. So, there you go. That's what I got. At some point, I will get the other books that I missed. I'm not worried about it so much. I have to go to a different LCS or I have to order them online, and I will. Just some week, just expect a really long dump of a video, and you'll be like, what the hell's Taylor doing? It's like, oh, he's catching up on about 2 months of old back issue shit. So, stay tuned for that. Yeah, that'll be goddamn riveting, huh? All right. Don't be a dick, even if, I don't know. Even if you voted today or yesterday or whatever, I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'm recording this ahead, people, and I voted today. It's a big thing in Wisconsin. So, spoilers. By Wednesday, we'll find out if the world's gone to shit. So, don't be a dick, even though the world's gone to shit. And let's let Uncle Trumpy sit in jail for a good long while, shall we? See ya.